Millions of Americans are nervous about losing critical food assistance in just 1 week after the Trump administration said it would not be using emergency funds to pay for federal food benefits. With at least 25 states planning to cut off benefits to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program amid the ongoing shutdown, families are scrambling for alternatives.
It's finding ways to make ends meet. Grateful for any sort of assistance programs. We're on WIC for my daughter, who's 13 months old, to get her formula and food. I'm showing up to food banks when I can. We're applying to jobs constantly. Our unemployment just ran out, so now we have no income coming in.
This is my first time visiting a food bank in my entire life. I've never had the need to do so in the past, but times change, and I'm in a moment or in a place where this is where I'm at.
Joining me now is Gina Platonino, Interim Director for SNAP at the Food Research and Action Center. That is a nonprofit where she addresses food insecurity. You must be a little bit stressed out these days, I gotta say, because you have millions of people facing the daunting possibility, Gina, of losing SNAP benefits because of the government shutdown. So what are the major concerns you're hearing from families?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify that even with the government shutdown, this doesn't have to happen because Congress has given USDA the authority to issue funding so that millions of people don't have to go without food. And so we're hearing many individuals saying, can I pay my rent? Majority of people on SNAP make less than $1,000 a month. Their landlord's not going to say, oh, you didn't get SNAP this month, and so you don't have food to feed your children. You don't have to pay your mortgage, or you don't have to pay your rent. It is incredibly conflicting and challenging time for families at the same time where everything is more expensive.
So give me a sense of the kinds of households that typically rely on the SNAP program, and then walk us through what comes next once these benefits are put on hold, which could happen a week from today.
Yeah, so we have majority of people on SNAP are children, right? Followed by people who are older adults, and then follow with people with disabilities. It's people who are veterans. It's youth aging out of foster care. The main reasons that people are in SNAP are threefold: is I lost my job, as you saw in your previous clip, my wages have been reduced, or I have a family member to take care of. Most people are in SNAP either 6 months to 24 months, but it's all depending on the economy. So what does it look like moving forward? Benefits in November will be delayed unless the Secretary of Agriculture uses reserve funding to move forward, but it's a little bit more complicated at that, because states have to send these files, right? The files of the amount of people that need those services. Those files are sent to a vendor. That vendor then tells USDA the amount of money. USDA then sends it to that vendor. The process, it takes a long time. So at this point, USDA was very aware that it had until yesterday to ensure that everything moved forward so that benefits would not be delayed. So in a base case scenario, that the secretary changes her mind and issues funding, say Monday or Tuesday, we are going to see a delay in benefits. But it is important for individuals to know that if the secretary changes her mind and issues those fundings, or if Congress reopens, people will get their benefits. It will just be more complicated. The last thing I think it's important for people to know is that retailers are also impacted by this. So I'm talking about the small retailers, the mom and pops.
Are there no backup funds for a program that millions of Americans rely on?
There is. It's called contingency funding that Congress has instituted. It's public. It's in the public. They also have Section 32 fund, which is the same authority that they utilize to be able to fund WIC as well. And they also have credit corporation funding, which is what they utilize with commodities.
So we have the Senate Republicans. They're discussing voting on a bill to prevent this loss of food aid before next Saturday's deadline. Is that all it takes? One Senate vote to keep Americans from going hungry?
It's even more simple than that. It really does take the secretary to do the same thing that they did with WIC, saying, hey, we're going to change one pocket of funding and we're going to put it here. And it takes less time than having to go through Congress. And utilizing what money? Where would they come from?
Wow. So you have data from the Department of Agriculture, and it shows 1 in 8 Americans relies on SNAP. And a headline in Axios reads, Colorado food banks face crisis as SNAP expires. So, I mean, how are the food banks preparing to fill the void if SNAP is suspended?
Food banks are superheroes. They have been working extra hours since they haven't recovered. Our economy has gotten worse since the beginning of this year. And so there are more people on SNAP, and more people who are needing to go to food pantries. Food pantries were created as an emergency mechanism, but for most families now it's become a way of life.
So, Gina, we have the holidays right around the corner. What can families do to try to help supplement the absence of SNAP? You've got some families that have been told apparently to buy shelf-stable foods. Okay, but what other advice and resources are available to them?
Again, the people who are on SNAP is because they have such limited income. They're paying 70 to 80% of their wages on have very little. And so this is put them in a lack of choice. Do I pay my rent? Do I pay my medicine? Do I pay my car insurance? All of these things. And they're just not going to have food, right? Like children will get their food at breakfast and lunch at school, and they will come home and wonder why mommy or daddy are not eating. And so, like, to tell someone this is what they can do, they're putting the responsibility on individuals who already have falling on hard times versus putting it on people who have the power and the authority to literally distribute those funds so that we don't have to be in this situation. As you said, during the holidays, which is one of the busiest shopping seasons for retailers, and ensuring that people get the food that they need.
Something that you said, you know, one vote in the Senate could switch all this. Gina Platonino, thank you very much for the conversation and bringing the reality of the situation to us.